The forms has two parts. One is belongs to HTML, others belongs to PHP. The structure of the form is plain HTML. Yes, you can write something related to PHP in that place too, but it's not have to be. Okay, that's optional condition. So what I'm going to do now is a plain HTML file. So because it's a plain HTML file, I'm not supposed to run the local host, or I'm not supposed to save the file in that www folder. But for the convenience of the coming practices, I'm going to save my files again in that www folder. Okay, but it is not a must for the HTML section. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, oh sorry, I made a mistake. I just click a simple HTML file. Okay, I'm just going to write the related parts only related to the form. So the form this will make us a problem. Actually, I made a mistake that I opened the Windows and the code loopster. Whatever, that's no more exist. Okay. The form elements which are going to interact with the user must be in between the form tags. Okay. The form tags at least has to have two attributes. The first attribute is action. Action is the thing about where this page goes after you click the submit button. So in case if you are not going to move in a particular page, if you are going to stay in the same page wherever you are, you can just write like this, the hash. So that means that I'm not going in a page, I will be in the same page. Okay? If you are going to have another receiver page, so you should write that address in here. The second one is the method. Method is the way how you are packing the information and sending to the receiver. Okay? So the method post is the secure way rather than the get. Okay, so that's why we usually use the post in the forms. So for a better structuring of building this form, I'm just going to build a table structure. But the table structure can start inside the form or outside the form. Or even you can start your table structure in before the form, and you can finish the table structure inside the form. That will be working fine. The browsers will not give you any sort of warning messages or such. So that is also okay. But I prefer you to decide a way and follow that way. So the way how I'm going to apply is I'm just going to start my table inside the form, and because I start my table inside the form, I'm just going to close the table inside the form too. This table is going to contain several rows, but each of the row are going to contain two table data. So I'm just going to make a structure about it. Table row, the table data, and this table data, the very first table data is going to contain the label of the page, of the field. The second table data, now I'm going to write, is going to contain the interaction way, okay, and then it will just terminate the table row, okay. I'm writing in this way because I'm just going to follow this pattern for the all form fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this empty template down below in case if I need it. Okay, so what we have done now, let me just save the file first. Okay, in here, group 2, let me write in the same way as I did it. Okay, so it's untitled.html, no problem. Okay, or we can just write something else in here instead of untitled. I'm just going to write in here form sender. Okay, so this is the sender form, and as you can see that the extension is HTML. I'm not dealing with PHP yet. So our first part is going to be about the name. Okay, the name is going to be collected. Actually, this data is going to be collected as a text field. There are many different type of input types in the HTML. And beside of input types, there are different ways to interact with the user. I'm going to show you on first of all almost 5 or 6 different input types, then I will show you the other possible options. The very first input type is, we write input type text. If you write input type text, it will just generate an input type area, sorry, the text area. So let me save it and let's see what we have done so far. Because it's just a plain HTML file, I'm just going to click on here and we will see that this is the application. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in a bit. So here it is. So, but this text field has some sort of missing pieces. The very first missing piece is all of the data collection, let's say, tools must have a unique name. So if we don't name it, so you cannot access it. So the name in here is username, okay? And you can also write different sort of attributes in here. Very first one, I'm just going to show you that the size. For example, I'm going to make the size as 50. So that is going to cover 50 pixels long, let's say, the form, the text field. Let's see. When I try it, see, it grows up. But if you just define it as 50, even if you use that application in your mobile phones or tablets, so that will be relatively changed according to the condition. That's why it's not always supposed to be there. But what I'm going to show you next, not the max size 50, I'm just going to make, not the size 50, I'm just going to make max size 50, max size 10. So this max size 10 is going to define the maximum number of characters what you can write. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I made a mistake. Just a minute. Let me see that. Okay. A max length. Okay, that's 10. Not the size. So I'm refreshing the page again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I'm hitting the keys, but it's not writing it. So in case if you would like to limit user to write something in a sort of limitation, that the max length is going to be helpful for you. When I refresh the page, as you see that, the cursor is not blinking. I mean, if I type something, it's not typing to anywhere. If you want the cursor go in a text field and blinks there and make the user to start filling the form, we have another attribute. The attribute is autofocus. If you write the autofocus for any text field, when I save the file, when I refresh the page, look at this now. Once I refresh it, now the text field is being active, and now I'm just able to write it directly without even clicking on it. Okay, so this autofocus is something very useful for just straightforward starting. But autofocus must be used only for one time in entire page. The reason is this. If you are going to, for example, even without autofocus, can you make your same cursor start blinking in the two different fields? No. The cursor will blink only in one field. So that's why autofocus must be there only for once. Okay? I'm just going to do the same action for the password too. So I'm just going to copy it and I'm just going to paste it. Like the name, now I'm just going to write in here password. The password is going to use another input type, which is not surprisingly password. Okay? And as I have told you that the name of each field must be unique. So it is uname for the name. So for the password, let's say upass. And I haven't defined any sort of maximum length. I didn't delete the autofocus. Now we have two autofocuses. And let us refresh the page and let's see what happens. So when I just go to the page, when I refresh it, as you can see from here, only the very first one is behaving. The second is not applicable. So no need to write more than one autofocus in your page. So the first will be running, the second and the third or the rest will not be running. Okay? So I'm just going to make this autofocus disabled now. I'm just going to show you one another attribute that is also very useful. But for making that to be running, I'm just supposed to make the submit button. So let me just put a submit button down below in here. The submit button is not going to have any label because that is just a button. And because I have deleted one of my table data, I'm supposed to make in here call span 2. So this table data should cover 2 table datas. And I'm just going to make it align center. So when it is align center, it will be looking fine. And guys, I'm now going to write here input type submit. Submit, if you write just like this, it will just generate to you this look. Okay? But if you would like to change anything about the title of the submit button, you need to write here the value as go next. If I now write the value as go next, and if I just try it, it turns into go next. But if you would like to reach that submit button in the receiver part, as like all the input types, I must write here the name. So name is going to be register, okay, the reg. So here I have 3 words: submit, reg, and go next. Submit is the thing how the HTML understand that what is the function of that button or what that input type is. Reg is the name what I will use for the further reasons in the PHP, and the go next, the value, is the thing what displays on the page. Okay, so when I save it and try, in the loop nothing has changed, but I have given a name for that button now. Now I just want to show you one thing. If I click the go next, I'm just going to go next. I mean, if you look at in here, there's a hash come at the end of my address line now, and here, yes, it's going to next page. But if I want that this go next button do not work without filling them, so I have one more attribute. The attribute is very simple and very straightforward. You just need to write for the input type text, I'm just writing in here required. Okay? Sorry, required and required. So if you write something required like this, and let me write the required for here too. In this case, when I run the page, if I just click go next, it says that please fill out this form. Okay, and if I click here, again it's saying that please fill out this form. Now I click OK, then I can go to the next page. So required is a very useful tool. Actually, most of the things what you are going to see for this lesson were already available in HTML4 and the previous versions of the HTML, but you were supposed to take a help from the JavaScript. Now they are all built in the HTML5. Okay, so let's just continue. The next one is going to be, okay, I'm just going to need this thing now. Okay, the next one is going to be the gender. The gender is either female or male. So I am going to write in here input type. Now, this input type offers many options to the user and let user to select only one of them. Okay, so that is the radio that makes the radio buttons. Because I'm going to offer many options and I'm going to let the user click only one of them, I need to name those all in the same name. I'm not naming in here uniquely. So what I'm going to do in here, name, is going to be, for example, gender. And value, let's say 0. So this is going to go for female. And I'm just going to copy them all. And I'm just going to change the value as 1. And the female goes into male. And that's all. So let's see what we have done so far. Here it is. Okay, continue. We have now female and the male. Okay, and I'm able to select only one of them, not both in the same time. Okay, so that's the functionality of the radio buttons. But there is a problem. When the page is loaded in the first, none of them are selected. If you like, at least one of them is selected in the first as a default value. So we just need to write in here checked. Okay, if I write checked in here, so when I run the page, at least one of them is being selected as default. Okay, so this will make a sort of precaution in case if the user didn't select anything. There's another missing piece in here, that if the page in actual size like this, to go find and click on the radio buttons are not being always easy. Okay, but yeah, if it is enlarged like this, yes, we can just go and click in the radio buttons easily. There is one more function. That function makes me to click on the name and it selects the radio button itself. So that is called label. Label is able to be used in more sophisticated ways, but I'm just going to show you the very, let's say, simplest format. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say in here label. Okay, the label starts from the beginning up until the end of my text. Okay, and I'm just going to make the same for here, label, and I'm just going to close the label in here. Okay, so when I save it and try, okay, now I'm going to click the name, and that selects now the field, the radio buttons. You see that? So that's becoming more easier, more convenient for the users. Like the gender, we have another way of collecting data that is called the check boxes. Check boxes are not like the gender. because the checkboxes offers you many options and let you to select either none or one or many. But the ready buttons are forcing you to select at least one. Okay, so the gender is being the checkboxes are being used. For example, asking the skills of a person, asking the hobbies of a person, or asking something like multiple things. Let's say, which countries you have seen, or do you have what sort of vehicles have you used, or like these questions. Okay, so I'm just going to use it in here now. I'm just going to again duplicate my this empty template, and let's build the checkbox part here. Okay, I'm just going to write in here hobbies. Okay, the hobbies are going to be, let's say, the input type checkbox, name. Because these all hobbies, what now I'm going to count, are going to be related in each other, I'm going to name them same. I'm going to name them same, like the gender. Okay? But having a difference. I'm just going to write in here hobby. Okay? And after I write the hobby, I just made that the corner parenthesis, this one, okay? The reason is this, because I'm going to carry all of those hobbies in a bag, okay? That bag in the programming language is called as arrays, and they all be fitting into this array, and I'm going to use that array for the receiver part. The value is something what the computer understands if that has been checked. Okay, the value, let's say swimming. Okay, and the part which is coming next is what the user see. So I'm just going to make it smaller a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to write in here swimming. Okay, and let's say one more. I'm just going to paste it. Okay. Okay. Swimming, capoeira. Okay. And tell me something else. A sport. Huh? Reading. Okay. I'm just going to write the reading. Reading. Okay. Reading. Okay. Something what you like a lot. Sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah. Sleeping. If you sleep, of course, you get hungry. So eating. Okay. So here is that eating. And what else? Okay. Huh? Drinking tea. Okay. So if we are eating, of course, we get thirsty. So that's drinking. Okay.
Just drink it.
Okay. We have now 6, let's say, hobbies so far. I want them to look okay in sort of designing. That's why I made a BR in here. So that makes a break line after each tree. So when I save it, and once we see it in here, okay. Now we have those hobbies listed in here. What I see in here that because I build a table structure, the hobbies are actually printed in the middle of the next row, because the next row has 2 lines, but the hobbies data is containing only 1 line. That is not a good look for my, let's say, perspective of view. So that's why I'm just going to write in here TD. We align top. Okay. If you write this, so that makes hobbies to go top in here. Okay. So you can again use the label for all of them, but I'm going to keep it without label. Okay, now I'm able to select more, select all, or I can even make nothing to be selected. Okay, so that is the way. What is the difference between the radio buttons and the checkboxes? Okay, I'm just going to write actually one more field, that is email. The email actually, let me write the email before the gender. Okay, I'm just going to write the email after the password, so that makes more logical look. So the email is possible to write in here the text, and the name again should be unique, that is you email, and I don't want it to be required because it will ask it again and again for all time. So if you write a text like this, when you save it, and once you are in here, okay, let me refresh the page, you can just simply write your email, okay, d@hotmail.com. Okay, so once I fill them all, okay, Q and Q, when I click next, it accepts it. But that's not the proper way, because HTML5 forms are containing a special type for the email. I prefer you to use that one. The reason is this: instead of text, if you write in here email, in this case, when you run the page, guys, please be quiet. When we run the page, okay, we have a problem. Okay, just make it Q and Q. If I write in here QQQ, when I click go next, it's saying that your email should contain the @ symbol. So here I put the @ symbol. If I click go next, again it's saying that now the extension is not present. So I say that QQQ, now it goes. It doesn't check whether that email is present or not. It is only checking the formatting. Okay, so at least you force user to write something in the formatting of the email, but it is not the checking that whether that email is present or not. Okay, let me just write another field in here. That is about the numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to write in here the age. Okay, or let's say that because I'm going to have a conflict about the age for the further field, I'm just going to ask in here that how many computers you got. Okay, so let's see how many computers you got. So the point in here is input type. The number is the field now what we are going to use. Okay, because if we write here the number, we are going to have some attributes related to number, and that's going to make us to make it more user friendly. Okay, so again I must have a name, so comp used. Okay, now I'm able to define the minimum number. Minimum number can be 0. Okay, I can define the maximum number. The maximum number can be, let's say, 50. Okay, step is, let's say, 1, and the value is 1. So what they mean, now I'm just going to show you them. When we refresh the page, here we have, okay, I'm just going to reduce the size of this computers you used. Okay, because I want it to look tidy. Okay, that's better. So in here, as I said that, it is starting from 1 because I said the value is 1. Okay, Step 1, make it increment or decrement by 1. Okay, so if I just go to the page now, if I click the up button or the down button, it will increment or decrement by 1. If I did that step, let's say 3, okay, in that case, when I run the page, it will increment and decrement by the 3. Okay, so let it be 1. The minimum and the maximum, as you can understand that, that is the limits. It cannot be more than 15, it cannot be less than 0. Okay, so let's try it. If I just write in here 14, okay, let me just run the page again. Okay, if it is 14, if I go 15, it's not going more. If it was 1, it goes to 0, but it doesn't come less than 0. Okay? So these are the options available for the number field. Sometimes when you are dealing with some form fillings in your mobile, let's say in your Android device, or let's say the Apple phones or the tablets, suddenly when you are filling the forms, the keyboard is sometimes changing into numeric keyboard, sometimes the keyboard is changing into alphanumeric keyboard. That's about this. If this field is about the number, I understand that Android is clever enough that you can write there only the number. That's why the keyboard is changing into numeric keyboard. Okay, that is possible for the phone numbers. Okay. So once you are filling a phone-related field, so that makes your keyboard to change into numeric keyboard. Okay? But because this is the computer, we are not able to sense that difference. Okay, I'm just going to write one more field. Okay, how many fields did we write so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm just going to write the 7th one now in here. The 7th one is going to be, okay, the 7th one is going to be birthday. Okay, the birthday is going to have another input type. Okay, this input type is called as date. Okay, input type date is also like the number. It means it has the minimum, it has the maximum, and we can write the value there. Okay, so the minimum value for this date, okay, let's say that 19, okay, 19 and 01, 01, okay. Maximum is 2015, today is 3103. Okay, and now I'm just going to write the value. Value is going to be the default one. That's 2000 0101. So when I save the page and when we refresh it, okay, as you see that the 2000 0101 has been set as the default value. And if the user would like to change anything, can change from here, or can click this arrow key and can navigate to today. This goes to today, or can go to the mount, even by scrolling can reach before or after timings. Okay, so this is a very helpful way to collect the date related data. The reason why we use this date is this makes the user-related mistakes to get lesser. Means maybe some of them are using the slashes in between them. Maybe someone is using the dash. Maybe someone writes the year before, then the month, then the date, or something else. So this approach reduces the user-related mistakes to get lesser. Okay? I'm just going to write one more input type. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, one more input type. That is going to be the color. Okay, the color. I guess we have forgotten something. The name. If we don't write the name, we cannot collect the data in the receiver page. So date of birth is in here. Okay. So I'm just going to write in here the favorite color. In this favorite color, I'm just going to write the type as color. Okay. Of course, it doesn't have the minimum and maximum values. I'm just going to write the name as favorite color. Okay. So let's see how it looks in here. When I refresh the page, the favorite color comes in here. When I click this page, actually that box, that lets me to select different colors from the color ring or color wheel, or even you can just use the grayscales, RGB combinations and such, or different sort of color pickers. Actually, this color picker is changing related to which operating system you use. Because I'm using the Mac-based operating system, I'm having the color picker as a default one of the Mac. But if you go for the Windows applications, you will have a different sort of color picker. But they both have the same ways. I mean, lets you to select a color. Now, this becomes the favorite color. What we have done so far were all the input types. Now, I'm just going to show you two more, let me just check firstly. Yes. Okay. I'm just going to show you two more data collection tools, then we will give the break. Okay. The very first one is actually something in the same behavior of the radio buttons. It will offer us plenty of the options and let us to select only one of them. Okay. But just the look will be different. So let's make it. Okay, I'm just going to make that thing below the email. Okay, because I want it to look more related. Okay, below the email. So I'm just going to write in here field of expertise. Okay, so this field of expertise is going to offer user to select a field what they feel themselves well about. Okay, so this is no more input type. This is called the select. And whatever now I'm going to write must be written in between the select tags. Okay? Select should have like all of the, let's say, the data collection tools must have a name. And that name in here is going to be, let's say, EXP for the expertise. Okay? I'm just going to write the options. Okay? The option has a value. That is the value what computer understood. Okay, so in here I'm just going to write the PHP, and it's going to be the PHP in here too. And after you write your option, you need to close your option. Okay, I'm just going to write the PHP in here, and okay, I'm just going to duplicate plenty. Okay, PHP, C, C++, C sharp, C sharp. Okay, let's say Java. Okay, Java. And let's write in here Photoshop, okay, Photoshop, Illustrator, okay, Corel Draw, and let me write in here MS Word, MS Excel, and let me write MS PowerPoint. Okay, let us see how it looks. When I save it, and when we run the page again, we will see here field of expertise. And when I click the PHP, I am able to see them all. The very top one is being selected as default. But if you want to select something else, not the very top one, so you have an option like before. For example, I will just come in here and I will just say that that is selected. Okay, so now if I just go for here, if I refresh the page, now MS Word is being selected, hence it is somewhere below, okay, but that's being selected. As you can see in here, they have been actually classified. At very first we have programming languages, then the design tools, then the Microsoft products are coming. Okay? If you want your user to find what they are looking in a fast manner, you are able to use some sort of separators. We call them option group. Okay? So the option groups behave like this. You start the option group before you write your option. Okay? Option groups are carrying the labels. They are not carrying the values. Okay? This label is going to be, for example, programming languages. Okay? And the option group will be closed after the set what you mean. Then let's try it in here. Okay, let me just push them inside. Okay. Option group, label design. Okay. And I'm just going to write in here option group. I'm just going to push it in. Then I'm just going to write in here that option group, label MS products. Okay. And then I'm just coming down below in here, option group, and let me just select them and push them. So I save it. In this case, when we run the page again, we are able to see now the programming languages, as you can see, and it lists the programming languages by indented. And the design is in here. I'm not able to select the design because it has no value, it is just a label. And the design tools are coming in here. Then the Microsoft products are coming in here. So this makes user to feel more, let's say, flexible to do some sort of selection. So as you can see in here, about the gender, it was offering me several options and forcing me to select only one. That is how the select an option does. It offers again me different options and letting me to select only one. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm just going to write the 11th one. That will be the last, then we will give a break. Okay, the last one I'm just going to write down below in here. Okay, I'm just going to cut it now because I don't need any anymore. That's going to be the address. Okay, so address of the user. Address of the user is not an input type. We are just going to write it in text area. Text area is like a text field, but it contains the multi-lines. Okay? Again, like all the data collection tools, we must name it. If we don't name, we cannot collect the data. Okay? So here is the name, that's the address. Okay, let's see how it looks in first. If you look at it here, the address looks okay because it has 2 lines. Okay? At least it has 2 lines as a default. What I want you to show you that before the first character, I have a space there. If you don't like that space, so you must delete the space in the HTML between the opening and the closings. Okay? If you save it now, and if you just go here and click create, okay, let's say refresh again. When I write, now that space is no more there. Okay? Second thing what I want to show you is the placeholder. Placeholder is something which is present in a place, and once you start click writing, it will get disappear. Okay. Placeholders can be used in, let's say, in text fields as well. I'm just going to write a placeholder in here. Placeholder as write your name. Okay. So if I try the page now, so that it's saying that write your name, and right after I start writing, it disappears. The placeholder for the address bar is, sometimes you may confuse that, maybe you think that writing in here. So if you say that write your address, if you write something like that, hence it looks like the placeholder. It's not even close to be a placeholder, because when you start writing, it's not getting disappeared. That is a value. So if you mean that it is a placeholder, again you need to follow the same way. You need to say in here that the placeholder, then write your address. So I just cut it and I paste it. So when I save it, let's see how it behaves now. Oops, sorry. Okay, so it's saying that write your address, but this time when I start writing, it disappeared. The address, actually the text area, contains columns and the rows. Okay, so it's not having the size like the text fields were having. We have in here the columns. Let's say it contains 25 columns. And the rows, let's say it contains the 5 rows. When I save it, and when we refresh the page, now it contains the 25 columns and the 5 rows. It can grow larger, but it cannot get smaller. Okay? Here again, the address looks in the middle. Again, I don't like it, so I'm just going to change the behavior of the address as we align top. So once I make it we align top, we align, oh, not this one. We align means that the vertically align. So now if I vertically align, the address comes to the top of the cell. So we have learned text field, password, email, select an option, ready buttons, checkboxes, numbers, date, color, and the text area. As last, we have the submit button. In total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 different type of data collection tools you have learned. Okay, so we are giving a break. After the break, I will just show you that how you can collect the information in the PHP section. Okay, this is just a sender. It sends the information, but how we collect them is another story. Okay, so I'm just going to stop recording and let us give a break.